global economic impact of Greta Thunberg's detention on Gaza-bound flotilla on October 1st. A dramatic incident captured global attention. Israel detained climate activist Greta Thunberg and several others aboard a Gaza-bound flotilla. What looks like a political or humanitarian story on the surface could actually have profound ripple effects across the global economy, from the United States and the United Kingdom to Europe, Asia, and beyond. In this video, we will explore how this single event could impact oil prices, international trade, investor confidence, humanitarian aid, and even the political economy of the West. Let's break it down step by step. The detention of Greta Thunberg is not just about one activist. It symbolizes a clash between Israel's security policies, global humanitarian movements, and the powerful voice of Western public opinion. Why does this matter for the economy? Because the Middle East is a geopolitical flashpoint. Any tension here, whether it's protests, military action, or blockades, raises fears about stability in the region. And when stability is threatened, global markets react. Think of it this way: investors hate uncertainty, and this incident adds a whole new layer of uncertainty to an already fragile world economy. The first and most direct impact is on oil and energy markets. The Middle East is home to some of the world's largest oil exporters. Even though Israel itself is not a top oil supplier, instability in the region sends shockwaves through crude oil markets. If tensions escalate, say through naval blockades or wider regional protests, insurance costs for shipping in the Mediterranean and the Suez Canal could surge. This leads to higher transportation costs and ultimately higher fuel prices worldwide. For the United States, this means Americans could feel the impact at the gas pump. In the UK and across Europe, where economies are already battling inflation, another spike in energy costs could worsen living expenses and squeeze household budgets. So even a humanitarian standoff involving Greta Thunberg could raise the global price of oil, making life more expensive for billions of people. Next, let's look at global trade. The Gaza flotilla incident raises risks for shipping in the eastern Mediterranean. If naval confrontations intensify, insurance premiums for cargo vessels passing through this region will rise. Now, why does this matter globally? Because the Suez Canal, one of the most important trade arteries, lies just south of Israel. Roughly 12% of global trade passes through it. Any perception of risk in this corridor slows down shipments, raises costs, and impacts everything from electronics to food imports. For the US, this means higher import costs on goods shipped from Asia. For the UK, it could translate into longer delays in supply chains, echoing the disruptions we saw during the 2021 Ever Given blockage in the Suez Canal. The bottom line: even a localized political standoff can ripple out into the arteries of global trade. Financial markets are highly sensitive to political news. The detention of Greta Thunberg could increase risk perception across European markets, especially. Why? Because Greta is a high-profile activist with a global following, especially in Europe. Her detention may trigger protests, political debates, and even calls for sanctions. Investors, in times of political tension, often shift money into safe havens, such as gold, the US dollar, or US Treasury bonds. This means stock markets in London, Frankfurt, and Paris could see volatility, while New York may temporarily benefit from capital inflows. So, ironically, a humanitarian conflict in the Mediterranean might strengthen the US dollar while weakening confidence in European equities. Another overlooked impact is on humanitarian aid and financial flows. The flotilla was intended to deliver aid to Gaza. By detaining the ships, Israel is not only restricting supplies, but also creating new pressure on international organizations. Western governments, especially in the UK and the US, may face domestic political pressure to increase aid or review their funding policies. If sanctions or boycotts come into play, trade relations between Israel and European partners could be affected. This means NGOs, donor governments, and private charities may have to redirect more funds, altering financial flows in the global aid economy. That money, of course, comes from taxpayers and budgets that are already stretched. In the UK, where Greta Thunberg is a celebrated figure, her detention could energize climate activists, student movements, and political opposition parties. This matters economically because protests often spill over into disruptions of businesses, city services, and transport. In the US, the Biden administration, already under pressure from tariffs, and a government shutdown might face louder calls from progressive groups to pressure Israel or even reconsider military aid packages. These political debates affect economic policy decisions, foreign aid budgets, and the diplomatic environment that underpins international trade. Zooming out, the detention of Greta Thunberg is not an isolated event. It adds to a growing list of geopolitical flashpoints: US-China trade tensions, Russia-Ukraine, Middle East instability. Each of these crises injects uncertainty into the global economy. The IMF and World Bank have already downgraded global growth forecasts for 2025. Events like this only reinforce fears of slower growth, higher inflation, and fragile supply chains. So while one flotilla may seem small, the ripple effects amplify a world economy that is already struggling to recover. Political story, but the consequences go far deeper. It could raise oil prices, disrupt global shipping, shake investor confidence, alter humanitarian aid flows, and trigger political and economic reactions in both the United States and the United Kingdom. This is a reminder that in today's interconnected world, every geopolitical spark can ignite economic turbulence. What do you think? Will this incident have lasting effects on the global economy, or will it fade into the background like so many others? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the intersection of politics and economics.